Thank you for joining us today. This session is all about learning how to use ChatGPT, a tool powered by artificial intelligence, to help you evaluate your legal case. Whether you're an advocate or you're representing yourself or just curious about the legal process, this is the study group for you. What you'll learn today: how to organize your case details so that ChatGPT can help you effectively, how to use ChatGPT to find laws, analyze legal decisions, and draft legal documents, and how to spot mistakes or unfairness in your court orders. So this session is for education and information only. This is for entertainment purposes only. And we're not giving legal advice, and this doesn't create a lawyer-client relationship. Please always double check any information with a licensed attorney to make sure it applies to your case. By participating, you agree to these terms. So, part one, getting ready to use your ChatGPT. So, why does preparation matter? ChatGPT can only give good answers if you give it a clear and complete information. So let's start by organizing your case details. One, you'll gather your case facts, write down the key events, dates, and people involved. For example, if you're dealing with a custody case, note who has the child on which days, any incidents of concern, and what the court has already decided. Be clear about what you need. Are you trying to understand if a court order is fair? Do you want help drafting a legal document? Or, for examples, you can say something like, does this custody order follow the best interest of the child in this state? Um, so say about that. So, okay, so getting prepared, getting ready to use your ChatGPT, you will gather all your court documents. Once you have them all, it's preferred to have them in a digital format. PDF is preferred the most. You can easily change a Word to a PDF. And the reason why is because ChatGPT can read PDFs really well, but it can't read Word as well. And it definitely can't read scanned images. So if you just have the paper filing, you might have to request the digital format from the courts so that you can run it through your GPT. Once you get all of your court papers together, then at the bottom of your GPT, or if you need a GPT for court, um, then you can go to my YouTube channel and look up how to create a family court personal GPT and follow those directions. Once you have part one and part two done of that video series, then you would come back to this video and you would insert at the bottom of the screen, there's like a little paperclip icon. You would pick that or like a plus sign, and you would click that to upload your files. You can only upload 10 files at a time. Um, so what I would do is if you want to upload everything since the beginning of your, case, I would do that. Any police reports, anything that is in PDF format that it could read, you can upload it. And then anything that's not in there, you can kind of walk through with it. What I would do after that is after uploading it all, say you upload 10 documents and you just hit go on your chat GPT. It's just going to basically tell you like what is going on in your case, depending on the GPT that you're using. If you're using just basic chat GPT or if you're using a specialized GPT. Um, then so then this is where it's going to come in handy to know different prompts and how to find different ways to pull out information or insights from your case work and your papers that will help you to fight back. So ChatGPT can explain laws, find patterns in decisions, and even help you figure out what the other side might argue. So, for example, you can ask about the law. So, an example question would be like, what are rules for joint custody in and put your state? You can follow up and say, can you explain this law in simpler terms? Highlighting one of the laws that is coming through. Okay, so sorry, let me go back a little bit. So what after you upload your documents into the message area, one of the prompts that you'll want to ask is say, act like an expert attorney and help me find any violations of any state or constitutional laws. Give it the state, obviously, the jurisdiction, your county. Um, And in the lower courts, you're going to want to argue your state laws the most. If there are violations in your state laws, then you want to escalate that to the appeals court or to federal court, and then you'll want to include um, the constitutional laws if you go to the higher court or to the federal court. Um, so basically just asking, do you see anything that I can, that is unfair, that I can argue? How can I argue it? Um, can you explain these things to me in simpler terms? Um, can, what cases have decided whether moving, find cases, you can ask it to find cases that have allowed what you're trying to fight for as far as case law goes. And then you can ask things like, are there any constitutional rights involved in this situation? And like I said, the constitutional rights you can argue in like the higher courts. Um, So court orders obviously should follow the law and be fair to everyone involved. So ChatGPT can help you check that. Whenever you're in family court, I think the way that the corruption escalates is that most people don't understand when their rights are being violated. So if you're just a lay down person and you're not fighting back when somebody is violating your rights, it obviously can escalate to be something bigger or worse. So as soon as you start to notice these violations of your rights, by running through your court orders through your GPT, um, then I would escalate it immediately to the Court of Appeals, make a federal complaint. Um, and that way you're letting them know, like, no, we're not going to play like this. It costs them a lot of money to do these things. And if they know that you're going to challenge them to follow the law, then they're more likely to uh, not take such bold action in violating it. So you can ask your GPT to check for mistakes by asking it, does this order follow due process under the 14th Amendment? You could ask it, is this custody order consistent with, and then name your state, our state's best interest, child's best interest standards. You can ask it, what might a judge consider unfair in this decision? Um, so drafting documents with ChatGPT is also fairly simple. As long as you know what a document should look like. So if you want to write a motion from scratch, after submitting all of your court documents into the plus button or the paperclip button of your GPT, um, then you would ask it, and just remember every single time you put in a prompt or ask it a question, you have to ask it to act like a professional attorney or, whatever, just to make sure that it's on the same page as where you're trying to go. Because if you don't, then depending on what type of GPT you are using, it might revert back to open public knowledge, which sometimes can be censored, which is why it's more beneficial to have a paid program for ChatGPT, because then at least you're not being censored from information that might be imperative to know. So after you do that, after you've asked if this follows due process under the 14th Amendment, asked all the laws that you can think of, or you've asked it what it sees, and then you've asked it to explain each one of those things to you so that you can understand how your rights are being violated. And it might suggest and ask if you want help writing a motion to change custody, or drafting a letter to request mediation for a custody issue, or, create a discovery request to find out, the other parent's work schedule, like things like that. Write this habeas corpus, write this writ mandamus. You can ask it to do anything, but this is how you would do it. You would format the prompt for that question. Act like an expert attorney in the state of blah, blah, blah. And based on these documents, or this document, based on this information, basically, um, tell me um, what state and constitutional laws are being broken, and support me and walk me through how to create the appropriate documents to argue this in court and stand up for my rights one at a time by asking me one question at a time. And if you do that, then you're basically asking it to fill out one motion for you at a time by asking you one question at a time, just like a lawyer would, or a paralegal would. Um, and I just really recommend that you just play along with your GPT as much as you can, as often as you can, around your case, because every single time that you do, it's going to give you new results. For example, if you do that, it's probably going to draft up one motion for you, and it's going to be pretty basic. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go through every subject or paragraph of, well, subject, which could be multiple paragraphs of that motion. And you're going to want to run it through your GPT again a second time. And you're going to ask it to say, help me act like an expert attorney in this state and help me convey this message in a clearer way, building stronger arguments towards this violation or whatever it is, to tie it to my state constitutional rights or my federal constitutional rights. Uh, and then if you do that and you kind of work through each one, every time you give ChatGPT work and then you ask it to work on that, it gives you something back better. So I would do that a few times until it's really starting to sound super clear. You yourself are getting really clear on how to study with your GPT and you're learning about all the nuances of your case. So, you should start to know the laws really well. Um, you can also ask it to help you with formatting. So, say you're in the appeals court or the Supreme Court and they have specific rules around formatting, then you could ask it, according, for example, to the Utah rules and procedures at Rule 24, how would I write this um, introduction? Or you can ask it about formatting. But it's not going to do all of the work for you right away. And I think that's where people get ChatGPT wrong is it's meant to be a tool that's supposed to be used, not a tool that's meant to replace anyone. So although we are replacing our, gouging lawyers, we also have to learn this tool because without using it and wielding it and getting it to reconsider or rewrite things or arguing different beliefs, uh, then you're just getting a formatted letter that could be for anyone. So just know that there is work that goes into doing this, but um, it's going to be to your advantage if you actually do the work yourself in as far as understanding your rights, as far as really arguing for what you believe is right and really following the law. Because I don't know if you've known this, but there are definitely lawyers who will lay down and allow anything to happen to you in court, even though you're paying them thousands of dollars, just because they want to um, gain favor from the judge or the opposing counsel, or maybe they owe them one, or maybe they're drinking buddies. The list goes on. I mean, they do go to school together. They do, study together. They play golf together. They party together. So why wouldn't they have some sort of like unsaid relationship outside of the court that you don't know anything about? And if you're paying them hundreds of thousands of dollars to represent you in court, you want a fair example. So you might as well spend hours of your time teaching yourself how to understand what's really going on in your court and going on and what's happening to you so that you can fight in the best way possible. So, writing legal documents can be overwhelming, but just remember that ChatGPT can do all the heavy work for you. It creates the template that you can build on. And just remember to do one subject at a time and have it build onto that. And by using specific prompts, which I'm going to create a workbook for you guys, by creating specific prompts, you'll be able to get that motion into a format that really works for you and really can convey the argument that you need to convey to the courts. So, one more thing before I let you go. You can also have your GPT predict what the other side might argue and help you prepare your counter arguments. So this is really useful if you have to do an oral presentation in front of the court, or if you're going to be asked questions. You can prepare for any hearing just by asking the right prompts. Um, and so you could ask your GPT things like, what arguments might the other parent use against this motion or the opposing counsel? You might ask, how can I respond to claims that I'm being duly uncooperative? You can ask it to, what are the risks of filing this motion? Because then You can ask it about time limits for your area, but make sure that you know the specific code, like rules and procedures and the actual format code for whatever you need the scheduling for. So this information that I just taught you today could also be used to help others. If you know somebody else that has a case going on and they're not familiar with ChatGPT, you could also run a case evaluation for them and help them figure out what their next steps are as well. So this is also a great tool for advocates. So a common question that might come up is, how do I make ChatGPT's answers more accurate? And like I said, whenever you are talking with your GPT, the more specific that you get in everything, an intention with your words, make sure that you're naming things correctly, make sure that you are asking for the correct information, and you will get a correct answer back. And if you are too vague, you are going to get a vague answer back. Never share sensitive personal information. Instead, simplify the details. Well, what do I mean by that? If you share with your GPT that someone raped you and like did all these horrible things, and you speak about them explicitly, ChatGPT might just shut that all down, and everything that you typed out will just disappear. It'll just tell you that you violated the GPT uh users policy or something like that. And so whenever you are referencing to abuse, just say domestic violence or abuse. Um, let's see. Can ChatGPT help me file a motion on my own? Like I said, yes, ChatGPT can help you file a motion on your own. You would have to know what motion to file, and how to know what motion you need to file is you upload all of your files, your recent court orders, into your GPT, and then you'll ask it, you'll tell it, act like an expert attorney in this state, give them your jurisdiction. You might have to do county, or province, depending on where you are in the world. And then you would say, based on, um, these orders, this is what I want to do. How can I do it? What is the next legal motion that I can write to get this going in the right direction? And then you can even ask it to explain everything to you. Why would this be the next best step? And then you would ask it, okay, great, write that motion out for me. So say you're filing habeas corpus. You could say, write the habeas corpus out for me. Ask me one question at a time until it's completely filled out. Okay. Um, let's see. So just remember, you want to organize your case facts before asking your GPT. So if you haven't already watched my video on how to organize your case files, I suggest that you go there. It starts with a timeline. You want to write down the entire timeline. And then you want to write down, I'm sorry, you want to have a victim impact statement. You want to have an evidence packet. You want to have a detailed plan mapped out of like what motions might be coming up and what you need to do. And then you need to write down. So all of these things are being written down in your journal or your calendar, and you need to write down important dates. You just really need to get everything organized to make sure that all of your evidence and all of your files are on multiple hard drives that you have in multiple safe places. For example, I put one in a storage unit and one in a safety deposit box. Um, Um, and then just so you know, ChatGPT can make mistakes. If you have somebody that's a lawyer or a paralegal that you trust, always run your work by them. Or another thing that I did was I had a lawyer who just represented me in court so that I could get what I wanted through the motions. And then I just had him show up like an hour before court and read my motion, or he would read it after I sent it to him. Um, and we would just have a brief discussion about it. And that really was when I started seeing things change for the better. I really saw the case go in the direction that I wanted it to. And that was because I had more control over how my story was being argued. So, with that said, just be on the lookout. I'm going to do a ChatGPT workbook for you guys to get through family court. And then I'm also going to have one that will help you learn how to start healing from all of the trauma and domestic violence that you've endured. And also, we are going to be going over how to make money with OpenAI. So please follow and like and share with your friends. And we'll see you back here for next week, Sunday, or I'm sorry, Thursday at 5 p.m. That's so funny. We used to do Sundays. Now it's Thursday at 5 p.m. Have a good night. Take care.